Hi everybody, we are the Business Youngsters and our team is represented by Rogelio Andrade, me, Sara Aguirre, Fernanda Diaz, Rosy Mancilla, and Naum Amador. And today we're going to present identifying areas of improvement.
The first objective is individuals will learn the most appropriate language and terminology to use when negotiating with Mexicans, understand how to communicate to build trust. This means that the person will learn to communicate with their own terms and words when negotiating with a Mexican, and with this, learn to use the appropriate terms to generate the necessary confidence when negotiating and be able to have a good result. The second objective is clear out any misconceptions when doing business in Mexico so we can have a better understanding of how both countries do business and how we can improve our negotiation style by adapting to the other party. This means that the two parties must study the other's way of negotiating in order to adapt and improve when concluding a business, trying to avoid any mistake. And the third objective is applying professional advice and tips as well as a cultural insight when doing business with people from Mexico, assisted by native people. Basically, as the objective mentioned, it only had to look for the best advice and suggestion. So with this, can negotiate with Mexican people, taking into account its culture and the way they do it.
Relationship between the objectives and the topics. In our objectives, we focus on training our people by offering them advice on common language used when doing business in Mexico. Communication is key when doing business, and we will provide them with some real-life examples, phrases, so they can educate themselves on how negotiations are made, what the business etiquette is, how to speak, what to say and what not to, as well as how to build trust. Another objective is related to introducing them to real Mexican people so they can get to know more about the social interactions in an everyday scenario, since Mexican business interactions tend to be informal and at social spaces at times. Also, by showing them more about the Mexican culture, they can be more contextualized about how people in Mexico behave, so they can use proper body language, negotiation style, and erase any misconceptions of doing business here.
Addressing misperceptions. In order to deal with any problems or situations that can arise, it is important to make clear to both Mexico and the United States what is expected and what the requirements are. For example, in the case of interaction via the internet, there are various problems that can occur, so they need to be advised to what to do to avoid interruptions. In our objectives for this plan, we always aim to have empathy for all the parties, the two countries, and to lead by example. Sometimes it can be hard and difficult to agree on the hours, the days, and other things. So we suggest for both parties a mediator who can take the right decisions for the business, as in coaching or team learning.
We decided that case analysis and role playing was one of the most useful tools for learning for these students in our course. Now, why do we choose this? We think that case analysis specifically, it's a really good way to learn and improve your solving and decision-making skills, because it also takes real-life examples and it really requires you to deduct the principles from these real situations. Now, the role-playing comes into place when we try to engage the students to play one of the parties in the different case studies. So I think it's a really good way to learn from mistakes and also from the success of real-life companies and negotiators.
Case example: the long path to the IBM Mexico Agreement. An analysis of the microcomputing investment negotiations, 1983 to 86. Abstract: studies of negotiation have proliferated, but few, especially in international business, have systematically detailed the complexity of negotiations in situ. This paper describes and explains the widely publicized controversial talks between IBM and the Mexican government that followed IBM's proposal to establish a 100% owned personal computer assembly plant near Guadalajara. This case example will help us to understand two things about the business etiquette. The first one, the emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, and the second one, what are appropriate reactions to negotiation strategies.